diary. It's late on the night of September 30th, the last day of September, and we're just checking in, making this little video diary entry from the very beautiful town of Gordes, Gordes in France. And how did we get here? Well, we started off the morning still in our lovely camping site in Salles-sur-Verdon. Now, we'd planned to go on a big long cycle ride, and we'd done the route check and everything, but unfortunately the weather has really let us down because it was actually raining. It wasn't really heavily raining, it was sort of like tinkling. It started about 3 o'clock in the morning, and on a technical point I set the heating on the van, which is gas powered as it normally would be, to sort of on, and it is very nice to have heating in a van, and especially when it's raining. It's sort of horribly wet and cold outside. So we made another little tick box of our perfect van configuration, which is that we going to have heating. That's going to have to be a must. We tried to get up about 8 o'clock. That kind of failed. So by about 9 o'clock we did manage to get up. It was still raining, so we thought there's nothing more to do but go for a swim. So like yesterday, we went for a swim. Now we were going to try and swim across the whole of the lake, and yesterday we thought we'd swim about halfway, but then when we came back and looked on the GPS, it said that we'd only swum about a third of the way, so we thought, okay, today we're going to do it. So we certainly swam further than we did yesterday, but it still wasn't anywhere near to the end, the other side of the lake. There were sort of 2 trees we were sort of aiming for, and we thought we were getting closer and closer and closer, but then we kind of like lift your head up a bit more. It's still quite a long way. So anyway, we didn't want to go out too far because we'd get too cold, and then we'd have a very awkward swim back. So we went as far as we could, came back, had a lovely long hot shower in the showers at the campsite, and then called it a day. Checkout time was noon, and we just about made it, leaving at noon, and then we just kind of drove towards our next destination. Now, first thing we wanted to do was to fill up with some food, and we went through this town called Manosque, and there was just a whole horde of supermarkets there. Now, we'd actually looked up where the supermarkets would be best, and on our route it was in Manosque, so we knew that they were there. We ended up stopping at this thing called Hyper U, which wasn't that memorable except for the fact they've got a drive-through part to the supermarket. I presume you order online and then you just pick up your order from a drive-through, so something like that, like a drive-by shopping experience. Anyway, we spent quite a lot of time in Hyper U looking up and down the aisles, and we still forgot to buy the most important thing, which was some aspirins or ibuprofen or something for Marcus, because I've got a terrible headache and I've had it all day. Anyway, I think later on we went into another supermarket, and they don't sell aspirins or something. You have to go to a pharmacist, and no pharmacist we could find was open throughout the whole day. Anyway, so after the big fat supermarket, we had a bit of a eating session, and then we drove to somewhere called Roussillon, which is Roussillon, and it's an ochre centre, that being like a sort of clay reddish material. And we went on this big long walk where we could see the cliffs, and they'd made a big song and dance about how great it was. It reminded me of our English holiday. We went through this cave. It was all a bit overstated. In other words, it was very nice to look at, and it wasn't that expensive to get into this little exhibit. But it was a bit of a sort of so what. I think they could have just had a big board saying it's reddish in colour, it looks great, it's used for all sorts of things, and thanks. But of course, they took you on a long little walk and stuff. So we did all of that. And the next thing was to drive to a point from which we could do our cycle ride tomorrow, which is the Wednesday, the 1st of October. Now, according to our looking, it's going to be fine weather tomorrow, but we don't really know. So on the grounds it is going to be fine weather, we've driven to this wonderful place called Gordes, Gordes, and it's a very pretty French town. We arrived sort of whilst it was almost dark, so we didn't get much chance to explore, although we have walked around in the dark for some time, in the rain. And it's certainly very beautiful. Oh, I think they've got a Sotheby's and a Christie's here, so I think that explains how posh it is. Agatha says it's a sort of town that you can imagine would be twinned with Gastard, darling. Anyway, so it's very beautiful here, but very wet. We were in the camper van in this free air, which is up a hill. Oh, most important, interesting point is that we've had to level the van for the first time ever. So it came with these two kind of plastic chocks, and we're sort of sloping in two different directions. So we've levelled one side of the van. So the van will be like this, but we've put the chocks on this side, and sort of we're now up. We're not totally flat, but we're not too bad. It was the first time I'd ever done it, and I couldn't have managed it without a Gordes like helpful waving, and whoa. So we're now wedged up on the right side of the van, which is leveling it a little bit this way. So that's it. We've had another quite full day. We've had the swim. We've had a good long walk around Gordes. We're all set up tomorrow to do this big cycle up a mountain called Mount Ventoux, but that rather does depend on it not raining. And it also depends on us driving almost 50 kilometres to get there very early in the morning. So we need to go to bed early, and so without further ado, I shall say good night from me, goodbye from darling Agatha, and we will speak to you soon, Diary. Night.